This episode of Parikrama is presented by Khana Rozana. Rediscover the joy of homemade food with Khana Rozana.
Indian vegetarian food. Catering only.
Namaste, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, and hello. This is Darshan Kaur, your Parikrama host, back again with another podcast. Today, we're going to talk about us. And by us, I mean the Indian American community and the various efforts that are being undertaken by community leaders to bring the Indian diaspora together under one umbrella. With me in the Parikrama studio are two such leaders from Atlanta. I'm sure you're already familiar with them, but for those watching outside Atlanta, here's their brief intro. Chand Akkineni is the current president of IACA, India American Cultural Association. Under his leadership, just last year, the Golden Jubilee celebrations for IACA were carried out with great success. But not only that, Georgia Governor Kemp declared August 15, 2021 as India Day. India Day in Georgia, just to clarify that. Chand started Festival of India in 1997, Rhythms of India in 2008, and Atlanta Indian Idol in 2013, and all of these events have been very successful. Chand was also the president of TIE Atlanta, founder member of GIACC, president and chairman of TAMA, and besides that, he started multiple IT companies, Capricorn Systems, Soft Pros Inc., IT Job Cafe Inc., and jobsforall.us. Sunil Savilli is an IT professional from the past 22 years. He's also founded his own company, Unicorn Technologies, in 2012. He's been serving the Atlanta community, Indian community, for the past 20 years. He's served as a director in TAMA and also a chairman in TAMA. He's the founder and founding chairman for IFA. So, and besides that, he's also served as a personal board director in Fulton County. Welcome to the studio, both of you. And we're glad to have you here. I'm going to jump into the questions right away. So to talk about our community, it is often said that if there are 10 Indians in a city, you're going to need 11 different organizations. And in my 23 years in Atlanta, I have definitely seen plenty of examples of that. So, but lately, I think what has been happening, I've heard about the efforts that both of you in your own capacities, along with other leaders, have been carrying out to bring the different organizations together under one umbrella. So why? What is the objective behind this? What is the drive behind this initiative? Chand, I'm going to ask you first.
Thank you, Darshan, and thank you, Kailash, for organizing this, and again, like to happy to join with Sunil on this. I think that question bothers everyone, in Indian community, not only in Atlanta, everywhere. Okay, one side they see a negativity of 10 people working for 11, creating 11 organizations, but there is a positivity also in this, because not all the 10 people can become a leader in one organization. Okay, there are capable people. So I give an example, in organization TAMA where I work, there are 20 positions. Somebody coming first year, will take him 20 years to become a president. What would he do? Okay, he will look at an opportunity to join. Okay, I'm not picking on that. It's the same way everywhere. So somebody who have good ideas, better ideas, and who can't reach the position because of the hierarchy and other things, and they naturally move out and start their own organization. In the same way, if you look at IT companies, there are hundreds of IT companies. You may say, hey, we don't need 100 IT companies, we need 5. But the way, if you look at it, these companies reach everywhere in the US. Okay, every part of US, you'll find a company. One company couldn't have done that. So having multiple organizations, definitely helps. Everybody will do their, but if they work together, I think we can defeat the that problem of disunity. So we need multiple organizations, but unity we can work towards.
Great, great. Sunil, what are your thoughts on this?
Begin with thank you, Darshan, for bringing Chan and me together on this call, and as well as Kailash and giving the opportunity. Thank you again to Atlanta Dunia. I partly agree with Mr. Chand, and I definitely differ with him the same statement. The question is, why this many organizations? My way of looking, my thought process behind that is, there's nothing wrong in that one. And if they have 10 organizations, if the 10 organizations working in 10 different things and needs of the community, that will be better. People are getting more help, more service, and more activities will be there in the community. And India is such a diversified country. We have officially about more than 20-25 languages, recognized languages, and our culture was different, our language was different, our habits was different. So there's nothing wrong in that. But the only thing is, when we are in need, in global need, that definitely we all had to be united. We all need to work hand in hand. And when we are talking about US or any other Western countries, when we are there, we are a minority. So we need to sound as a majority in minority, not minority. So that's the basic point. Unfortunately, we all ignored or forgot for a period of time, and fighting for our own glory, fighting for our own organization, fighting for our own community. My belief is, we are all one community. When we leave our home, when we leave our home country, when we landed in a foreign soil, we need to be one as an Indian. That is the main thing. That is the underlined, highlighted point. Every organization or every leader has to keep in mind. The other thing, the different organizations, there are different reasons. Majority of the organizations, promote or help their own community, their own culture. So, for instance, we can take. I'm from South. So I don't know how the North Indians, their culture or their behavior, or the festivals or something. So the North Indian Center, North Indians will congregate themselves, and they will exhibit, they will showcase their own culture. So as Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada. So there's nothing wrong in that. But the one thing we need to keep in mind is, when we need to be united, when we all need to be under one roof on one stage. That is the biggest challenge we have. So rather than we using the word I, it's always keep in mind that, when the situations come to, we should use the word or learn to use the word we. We should be in practice. That's what, that is the reason why we are trying to unite, and why we are trying to be in a single India front. That's what my belief is.
Perfect. Good answer. But then just triggered another question in my mind. We just had, I think, Makar Sankranti, right? Middle of January. And but it's like, I'm from Punjab. It's Lodi for us. There is, it's the same day celebrated in so many different parts of the country as different festivals.
Correct.
So when you say one India, or we should be one, isn't it a challenge in itself? Because it's like just the same day, we have so many different festivals which are celebrated very differently in different parts of India. So how do you propose to make it one front or one festival when there's so much diversity happening in India?
That's a beautiful example you picked up, Darshan. That's the beauty of India. Because we have this many languages, this many cultures, this many different, attires and everything. But Lori and Sankranti, they both are same. The way we celebrate was different. But still, we are united, and the reason for celebrating Lori or Sankranti, the underlying theme is the same. How can we showcase to the rest of the world that, yes, unity in diversity? This is a beautiful opportunity we got. When you compare with US, what are the festivals they have? They have one Christmas. Across the world, across the globe, everybody will celebrate one. Thanksgiving, US and Canada is going to celebrate. But we have a Diwali, we have Sankranti, we have Dashra, we have 101 festivals there. But still, why can't we celebrate these things together? It's a beautiful opportunity it's a case study for the rest of the world to understand how this, unity in diversified world is going to work. Don't you agree with that?
No, absolutely. And I'm going to use this to to plug, one of the podcasts that we did towards the end of last year. It's about the Indian festivals in the US. And if people haven't watched that podcast, please do watch it as well, because we talk about various festivals. We talk to a few people, asking them what is their favorite festival and how do they celebrate it so far away from India, from our motherland. So if anyone hasn't watched it, please do watch it. But great point. I just wanted to make sure I talk about our podcast. Chand, coming
here. See, if you look at in Atlanta, what happened, when people first time, Indians came in 1960s, there were very few Indians working at Georgia Tech or Emory. Okay, they formed an organization. Okay, that was IACA. Initially, it was representing the needs of the people, maybe 200 people, 300 people. But later, you realize there is a need for, regional organizations. People, Gujaratis wanted to have their own organization. Punjabis wanted to have their own organization. So slowly, one by one, they moved out and they started their own organizations. And some of them have grown, like Tama is bigger than IACA, or Gujarati Samaj is bigger than IACA. So Shakti Mandir is bigger than IACA. So those kind of things. So, but the way I look at it is, I don't see that as a conflict. The regional organizations will appeal to their members better. You do certain things for your own people, but the national organizations, like IACA or IFA, we focus on bringing them together under one umbrella. Okay, you see that itself creates this need for a leadership and uniting the people. So it's better we leave the regional organizations run their programs, because see, they can bring their kids and teach Telugu. I can't create one joint thing and say, oh, I'll teach everybody Telugu. They're not going to be happy. So let's leave it to, it's like a federalist setup in India. States will take care of the local needs. Only central government will kick in where you need to unite people, where you need to take the interests of the majority of the people.
Great. Good answers. I was thinking if this was a debate, I would definitely give you both this point. Right. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Chand, I'm going to start with you again. So what are the obstacles that you've faced in trying to bring the Indian community together? And do you think you've made any significant dents in this mission, that you have actually succeeded to some extent?
Yeah, it's always challenge, to make two people work, agree on something. Okay, at home, I can't convince all my team members, so it becomes difficult unless you have a common goal. Okay, I look at a top-down and bottom-up approach in our IT. Okay, as an organization, as a national organization, we look at how do we involve everyone. Okay, but there is certain things you need to start from the bottom up. People, how do you, help your own organization, help your own community. First, meet the needs of your community. So while they are being met, then as a national organizations will come in and try to bring everybody together. So where there are some misunderstandings, personality conflicts, they do come into picture. And again, it's not that we can't convince 100% of the people to come and join you. Okay. In 1997, when we started the Festival of India, that was a challenge. Around 37 organizations came and joined without objection, because that happened to be 50th anniversary of India's independence. If it is some other event, I'm not sure people would have come voluntarily supporting. Okay, so it was a great moment. After many years, IACA got to a second stage of uniting people. So now it's the same thing happening. IFA also is able to start with their Freedom Mela and able to get people together. So people do see now, they see is not the organization, it's the spirit. We want to come together and do things together for our country and for the people in the US. So challenges will be there always. People will be not believing in your ideology. People have different goals. So, but you need to take majority opinion, majority needs into account and move forward.
Great. What about you, Sunil? What obstacles did you face?
Yes. Chand, I totally agree with you with every statement what you said. We both, worked together in Tama some time back, and when we came out, when we finished our tenure, we identified a lot of gaps in our community organizations. As Mr. Chand mentioned, these are all regional organizations, and these are all mostly cultural organizations. They are mostly focusing only on the cultural aspect of their own community or their own state or their own religion or whatnot. But the underlying fact was, the bigger or much bigger need from the community or for the community, it was slightly ignored. Every organization is doing a wonderful job in their own capacity, what they meant for or what the incorporation says. But we as an IFA, we identified all the gaps in the organizations which was not addressed by or the number of organizations, what they are missing. We combined all that strength. And we are focusing only on the social aspects of our human need, our community need. So we don't want to touch the cultural aspect. We don't want to get into their own business, what an individual organization was doing. So in that front, they very warmly welcomed us, and they definitely understand the need of our community, and they believed our concept. And it's not 100% yes for the very first time. They used to have their own doubts. These are a young bunch of young folks came and they were talking about uniting the community. They are talking about big things. We all need to be under one umbrella, and we can do it. But thank God, there's 48 organizations joined in our first year, and it's a big struggle. The biggest struggle for us is how to host such a big organization. The vision is too big, the planning is too big, the scope is very vast. But touch wood, and with the help of good friends of mine, and including Chand also part of it, because he is also took a major role in identifying the name that which one we need to go. Earlier we thought of going with the federation. Federation is such a big name and sounds really loaded. For my age and my experience to come to the community and say, I'm starting a federation. The senior people like Chand and his colleagues and all, them say, these young folks, they are coming and starting a federation, what do they know about organizations and all. So we picked up a very lighter name and a very useful name called Friends. Friends sounds very easy and light and very common, but we indirectly did what a federation is supposed to be done. So if you notice, since then, the Atlanta organization's flyers was completely changed from 2014 onwards. Earlier, a flyer comes with one logo, and any organization has to be joined with that. They need to pay for to join that organization. But IFA started a trend. Of course, credit, I'll give it to Chand. 20 years back, he envisioned that when he did it, but later on, over a period of time, they forgot even the flyer was exist or not. But we refreshed and we presented in the old wine in a new bottle. And since then, across US, that was adopted. Every organization now coming with at least 5 to 10 organizations join in this event, whatever they are doing. The second thing, and the major goal of this combining all these organizations is, we need to be socially and economically, politically empower our community. So far, all these organizations was focusing only on a cultural part, which is good. We have to have our ground roots. We need to know where we are and who we are. Apart from that, definitely, we need to have a social stand in this foreign soil. We need to have economical strength. We need to have a political presence. So these are the three basic and fundamental things we've been working, and I believe, to an extent, we are successful so far. And coming days, we have much bigger plans than Freedom Mela and all. And the second accomplishment is, John Creek, if you can see, there are 2 Indians contested for their office. Unfortunately, we both made to the office. And now the same Johns Creek, there somebody is contesting for the state. So these are all the changes, what we envisioned, and the fruits are started reaping. And we are really proud of our accomplishments and what we've been doing.
Just a little bit of a personal anecdote here. When you started IFA and the Freedom Mailer, I was actually involved with the ISCA at that time. I was the vice president that year. And I was one of the people that Chan and the group in ISCA sent over to cross
showcase, represent ISCA, yes.
to represent ISCA. So it's just that I was kind of like bridging the gap between right. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought when you were talking about it, it just occurred to me that yes, I do remember attending those meetings with you all when you started it. But anyway, that was a personal anecdote. So you just mentioned something about federation, and you also talked about all these organizations have across various US cities have copied that same formula. But from what my understanding was, and maybe you can correct me now, is that these federations, like you mentioned the word federation, were started even at a pan-USA level, at a national level. At some point was like I forget, FIA or some other federation. Chan probably has more background and history on that. But, this attempt was made in the past, and then I think it failed. So what makes you think you can succeed this time around? Sunil, I'm going to start with you first.
Thank you, Darshan. The very first thought when we got to start some kind of federation or either I'll take it IFA basically. I reached out to a lot of senior people in Atlanta, and 70% of the people discouraged me. Sunil, you can't make this one happen. Our communities as such, they never come and they never unite themselves. Everybody want to be a leader, as Chan mentioned earlier. So I was very consistent, persistent on my vision. What I believed is my belief that I had to do this. Then the rest of the 30% or 40%, whoever supported me, I carried this mission on the very first event. And you and Mr. Chan witnessed that one. There's more than 8,000 to 10,000 people attended in one event. This is the first of its kind for Georgia, not only just for Indians. This is for the entire Georgians. Could be this is the first event the regional or a country hosted. So that gives us the strength, courage, and belief on what we believe in. And the reason for everyone has to be joined. The first thing is it's a selfless effort. All we want is, how to cater our needs, how to showcase our strength as an Indian, as an immigrant. So they're buying that argument. And the failures, yes. As Chan mentioned earlier, everybody wants to be a leader. So as you also mentioned, when Indians, 10 people join together, and there will be 11 organizations. So that's in our DNA. So we had to overcome that one. It might take some time. We do come across some hurdles. But you believe on your core instinct. And it is accomplishable, because when we start IFA, somebody criticized us after we showcasing such a big event. Hey, these guys can washed out in a day or two or in a year or two. And this is 22 years. Here we are. We're still serving the community. We are coming with much bigger plans than what we showcased on 2014 and 2015. And you are the best judge for us. You've been part of IFA and volunteering or supporting or donating. In all friends, you are there. So everybody is not alike. We come across one or two leaders, one or two organizations who will oppose our beliefs. But still, we need to continuously pursue with them, convince them, and bring them together. And the second thing is financials is the biggest abstraction, what I'm seeing. We take the burden all the time. We don't want to give the burden to the organizations who are coming with us to get the confidence. Because from the day one you go and you ask them, hey, you have to be part of IFA, and you need to come up with this kind of funding, this kind of finances to host these organizations. They might have their own obligations, they might have their own restrictions from this their own groups, their own leadership. That is a real practical problem what any organization will come across. So we mitigated that one. We don't need money from you guys. All we need is people, your belief, your support. And that's where my concept was sold. And still, thank God, all the organizations, whoever joined with us, they are still with us, and they believe us. And that's one of the reasons we've been successful so far.
Perfect. Good answer. Chand, I'm going to ask you, and especially more so given that you know the history of so many of these organizations and attempts in the past to bring everybody together. So I'm surprised that you're not jaded by all that. So please give me the reason for your optimism in this.
Yeah. See, actually the federation is a beautiful word or a convenient word. Okay. See, if I say ISEA, the umbrella organization, 99 others will walk out. So you need a convenient word, a federation, where each organization maintains its independence. Okay. See, ISEA has a 50 years history. Tama has 40 years history. Gujarati Samaj has bigger members. So it's not possible to bring all of them under one organization. So the Federation of Indian Associations works well in that. Okay. You have your own elections, you have your own teams, but as a team to do a national event, come together and work that. In the same way that was done in the national level, it was called NFIA, National Federation of Indian Associations. I think some of the people like Subhash and others, they were heading, they became presidents of NFIA. Okay, that for different reasons it didn't succeed in Atlanta, but I think we may have to relook at it, and so that we can work with every organization, whether small or big, doesn't matter. You're part of the federation, and you contribute what you can in terms of money, in terms of membership, and you'll be one organization, whether you're going for political or charitable causes. We all can represent like India under that federation.
Darshan, one more point I missed to mention. You asked me a question that why it didn't work, or what is the reason it didn't work out or failed. The day we incorporated IFA, the same day I incorporated FI. The Federation of Indian Associations of Atlanta was registered in 2015 by IFA. But as I mentioned earlier, the very first day if I come up with FIA, it's very hard for me to sell the belief, sell the concept that we all can work together. So we took it as a case study that, yes, we can be together, we can showcase ourselves, what we are, what is our strength as an Indian, as we. So successfully we finished, I believe, 6 to 7 years. And I believe this is the time where we need to convince people like Chand in our community, Subhashi, and a lot of other senior people. We need to bring all these people on table, again under one roof. And we need to reinvoke FI. And I'm very positive, and I'm hoping that that day is coming soon. It's need of the hour for the community.
I'm happy to see your enthusiasm and your positivity regarding this. I think, I don't know about Chand, but I'm jaded. But sure, I'll take your optimism, and I do hope that this thing can happen. So we're gonna kind of you already sort of answered my next question that I was going to ask you, so I'm not gonna bring it up again. Like my next question was going to be about like we talked about, there's so much diversity in India, different foods, different languages, and all that stuff. So why are you trying to attempt this? But I think you already answered it, so that's what I'm going to ask you again. Because in your and I'm just going to remind the viewers, I think Sunil and Chand, they both mentioned that the regional organizations that are there, all the different cultural organizations that are there, are already going to continue as is. They're going to showcase and celebrate and do all the, the local, the cultural festivals. But this attempt is to present Indian Americans as a combined force to as the representing India in US. So I think I'm not going to ask that question again, because in your own ways, while answering other questions, you've already answered it.
You compiled everything and you answered that.
No, I was listening. See, I was listening when you were talking. So I said, this question has already been answered, but I just sort of like, it's like a reviewing the question and the answer kind of thing. So anyway, so I'm going to move on to my last question, which is, what do you see happening in the future? What is your sort of like a roadmap, if you will? What are your future plans? And do you see any major roadblocks that you could encounter in that roadmap? So Chand, once again, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, no, in IACA, I think there is a significant change in mindset, moving from a cultural organization to community service organization. Okay. In the initial, it was the culture. You needed people who wanted to find a way to learn Indian culture. But today you have internet and everything. Our kids do not need any of these organizations to teach culture. Okay, we can find that. So it's a community service. I see there are two things that's happening at IACA. We're making effort. One is community building. Okay. Next is community service. What is community building? Okay, when I looked at it, how do you bring all these people together, under one umbrella? I can't, if I say Diwali, every association conducts Diwali. If I say Sankranti, 4 organizations are doing Sankranti. So we need to identify the areas where we build the community. So first thing what we did, Indian American authors. Okay. I thought, there may be 4 or 5 Indian American authors in Atlanta. No, there are 40 plus authors, some of them accomplished with New York bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers list, there in Atlanta. Okay, to my surprise. So that's, we had almost 12 people were interviewed last year. Is going to continue. Same thing I did with the Indian American fine artists. Okay, again, there also we thought 10, 15 people. 30 people came to Festival of India and showed their paintings. Okay, many more. So there are things hidden in our people. Okay, bring that. In the same way, our political success also same. Okay, help. See, the IACA will not participate in the support a candidate or anything, but encourage the political process. Okay, expecting our youth to get trained and prepare for that. So those kind of, now we are starting to see, one of the things we are blessed is we have a facility of 300 capacity. Now today we are sitting on a $4 million property with a $3 million temple and all that. So we have a lot of obligations. We can't go and do wherever we want. So we want to utilize the facility. So I'm kicking off, leadership training with Toastmasters. Okay, how do you prepare these kids and the languages and different skills? So that's one side, we'll do community building. Second side, I think, we will rise to the occasion when there is a need for any community service. We will work with all other organizations and serve the community or serve the people. Even mainstream also, we're going to slowly get our people involved in participating. If you want to succeed in this country, you need to be part of this country. Not that only the Indian community, but do something for the local community so that they do see us as participants, true participant in this country's growth. They call Janma Bhumi and Karma Bhumi. So we are committed to Karma Bhumi also.
Nice. You can add me to the list of authors. I'm actually working on a book right now. So
okay.
Tentative. Just add
By
me.
the time the stands, I think, we'll get you.
So, Darshan, to answer in an IFA standpoint, I'm asking you a question that now, what is the common word to every Indian? Or what is the common thread that now everybody should and could take part of it? I'll give you a hint. Azad. Independence is our common word. So as Chand was mentioning earlier that regional organization, religious festivals, what we need to do, how we need to do. One of our success stories is when we are trying to reach out to all the organizations. If I say, as Chand mentioned, Diwali or Sankranti or something, everybody have their own piece of pie. They want to showcase themselves. They want to be in the limelight. They want to be in the forefront. But Azad is the one thing that we all can be united with that single word. So that's why we picked up Freedom Mela. And the beauty of US is this is also a democratic country, second largest democratic country. So fortunately, we combined those two occasions and we started celebrating Freedom Mela, which was universally accepted by every person who wants a freedom. It's not pertaining to India, it's not pertaining to US. Any soul living on this soil, everybody wants a freedom. So that's why we picked up that one. The second thing, showcasing our culture, showcasing our personality as we are Indians. When ISCS started, probably it might started with 20 people or 200 people, something Chan was mentioning. But today we have hundreds of thousands of Indians who are here. Pretty much everybody were doing 9-to-5 jobs or their own businesses and they're sitting there. How can we showcase our strength? Every seventh person in US was treated by an Indian doctor. 78% of motor industry was owned by Indians. At one point, almost 60 to 70% of subs and sandwiches shops owned by Indians. This is economic strength what we have. This is education, intellectual people who are here. NASA top 20 people, 6 or 7 of them are Indians. How can we showcase ourselves, who we are, what we are? So that's the reason, we are hosting such a big events, showcase ourselves, in way back 1950s or 60s, the way you think Indians are nothing but snake charmers. We are not. We are contributing to this country billions and billions of dollars. I'll give you a real practical example. 8 years back, IT Serve started. It's a congregation of all CEOs of the companies. Similar to the way we thought federation. This is nothing but a kind of federation, but using in a different platform. And that's a $6 billion contribution through IT industry. And there's a tip of iceberg. We are only 1,300 CEOs in that group. There are probably 7,000-8,000 more supposed to join in that. Out of this 1,300, there's about $6 to $7 billion business. And one single day, we were able to communicate with 70 legislators, lawmakers, in one day. It is a historic moment to our Indian community. So like this, imagine there's about 112 organizations registered in Atlanta. What if, all these 112 organizations together as one voice and one stage? How big of a strength we are. Every politician has to come to our doorstep. Every business entrepreneur, mainstream people has to come to our store. Our vision is that. So how are you going to communicate to that to the rest of the organizations, rest of the people? And it's no-brainer to say no to your thoughts and your vision. And I very strongly believe that, these are the case studies, it's proven case studies. And this is what we need to sell to our people, our organizations, our leaders, and motivate them. Once you successfully motivate the leader, that's a leader's job to go back to their home, their organization, their community, and hey, these people are doing an excellent job. Let's join hands, let's be together, let's be united as united friends. We can accomplish bigger things. So we all have to believe in that, and we need to move forward as we.
Oh, that's a great vision. So just a follow-up question to that. Do you have plans to do this at a pan-US level, like national, or just for now leave it within Georgia?
No, our vision is, we are expanding to every state, and actually I did a couple of meetings with the very big leaders and so-called Padma Bhushan or Padma Bhushan, who was awarded from our Atlanta community.
Oh, Dr. Sheikh?
Mr. Jay. Mr. Jay. So I had a couple of meetings with him. he gave a lot of decent inputs on how we can institutionalize the organization. This year we are trying to experiment that one in Atlanta. The Freedom Mela can be hosted by any organization in Atlanta on their own name, because the reason I mentioned specifically, there is one big organization in Atlanta mentioned that why IFA has to do Freedom Mela. We never said IFA has to do Freedom Mela. Freedom Mela can be done hosted by any organization in the same manner what we showcased earlier, but not missing the underlying theme, why we are doing. It's not for me, it's not for we. The V factor should be, underlined in a very capital way. So, with great people like Chand and Jag and a couple of other big leaders are there. Definitely, we are taking guidance from them, seeking help from them to institutionalize IFA, whether we go with IFA, whether we go with the FIA. I leave the choice to the community and the community leaders. And I'm not married to either of it. I'm married to the belief, what I believe as we united. So anybody, comes with that slogan, then we are with them and we want to go with them.
Good.
I would like to add a couple of things here. I think, this year we have a good opportunity. Okay, not national level, but local level itself. One is this year, India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amruta Mahotsav. Okay, started last year, is going to end on August 15th. So we all will work together, come together. And a couple of other events that are going to happen. One is Subhash Chandra Bose 125th birthday. They're celebrating, in India. As it was January 23rd, it has already started. They're going to continue. Next one is Aurobindo's 150th anniversary. Okay, these two also. So these three events are going to bring the Atlanta Indian community together. I think we're going to cooperate with all the organizations in Atlanta, come together. I think we build towards a national unity too. Okay, so I think, without overlapping, taking into other things, you can identify the activities where people can come together and we can guide the youth. You see, that's what we're all trying. Why are you wasting for Indian associations and all that? Hoping that our youth will have a better opportunities and compete in this field along with others without any disadvantages. That's the only reason, not that, we want to, we're not the real carrying the culture from India to here. Okay, we brought it, but now we have to leave it to the kids here. Nowadays, they can get directly from India itself. They don't need what we brought in. So give them, tell them what is possible, how do they succeed in America, and again, help India in return.
Great. I think these are great messages for the community. And, despite all the diversity that we have within the country in India, I think that when we are here in US, in our Karm Bhumi, we are representing our Janbhumi, which is India over here. And so it kind of makes sense for us to not forget about our individual culture and traditions, but to also keep in mind that to an American, we are not a Tamilian, we're not a Telugu, we're not a Punjabi, we're not a Bihari or, from the East, we are Indian. So I think that is the important message that both these gentlemen were trying to convey through the conversation. And that's the message that I hope that everyone who's watching will take from this podcast. So thank you, both of you again, for participating, for sharing your views with us. And we are at the end of time now. So I'm going to say goodbye to both of you and to our viewers. And this is Darshan Kaur signing off. And we'll be back again with another podcast pretty soon. Stay tuned. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Darshan.
Thank you, Darshan.
For giving the opportunity.